Hi there, I'm Summer Jackson, and I'm interviewing Burgundy Baker on behalf of Air Media today. And Burgundy, it's so good to have you and so glad to have you join us. How are you feeling today?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Well, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. So, I understand you and I, before we get into all the wonderful things that you're doing as a co star on The Shy, I hear we have a lot of things in common. For one, both of us probably would have been trying to get to homecoming at Howard this
Right.
week. So, tell me about that. Tell me about being a Bison, a fellow Bison, another Howard University alum, HBCU grad, making it
Yes.
big.
Yes. I'm so glad I went to Howard. It really changed me. Like, I didn't even know how great Howard was or all of the wonderful people that came out of Howard until my grandma told me, you have to go to college. So, my uncle gave me a list of colleges to look at. I'd never heard of Howard. I typed in Howard, and on the homepage, everyone popped up: Felicia Rashad, Anthony Anderson, Wendy Raquel. And I was like, okay, I'm going to apply here. And it was wonderful. I mean, they not only taught us how to be an artist, but they taught us how to be a Black artist. So I don't think I would have gotten that anywhere else.
Okay, so stop right there for a second. When you talk about being a Black artist and Howard University helping to shape that, talk a little bit more about that because, obviously the climate of the world right now that we're in is how has Howard University really shaped you? You stated that not only did they help you to become an amazing actress, but they also shaped you as an African American actress or a Black woman actress. So how is that different for the people out there who don't understand that path, that journey?
Yeah, as far as being an African American woman and an actress, I mean, so much comes with that, and you have to be ready for so much. And they would often tell us that you have to appear to be 10 times better than the people that you're going against, because so much comes with being African American and being a woman. And so they really taught us how to speak. That was a big thing for me. How to speak, how to stand your ground in a room and demand attention, and how to make the decision of what stories you want to tell. Because a lot of times as African American women, they want to place us in a box and they want us to tell the same story over and over, but being very particular about the roles that you take on and how it reflects your community.
I love that. And I do believe, I'm so glad you stated that. I mean, obviously, we're here at the Peachtree Village International Film Festival. So just around the world. And I love the way that you're breaking down the significance of being able to tell those stories from an African American perspective that aren't always told or told with our voice in mind, right? Because when you look at the way Hollywood or the way that the industry has just been able to move forward, our messages have been able to change. We're no longer just the stereotypical roles. We're getting to be any role, really.
Yeah.
That anybody could play because we're just regular people too. So I
People.
love that we're getting to do that. And you're right, Howard University totally can shape that. We could probably go on all day and all night talking about Howard because
Right.
everything that you said about that you didn't know about Howard initially when you were kind of being encouraged to go there or go to college, those are the things that drew me there. I
Yeah.
saw that as a little kid and I was like, I need to be there.
Yeah.
So feeling and I'm proud to be an HBCU grad. And so let's talk about that, the images and all of that. You're on a show. Tell me about your role on the show, The Shy, which I love as well because I'm actually from Chicago.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, I'm a Chicago girl. I grew up in the suburbs though. I didn't grow up in the places probably where they're mainly shooting the Shy, but but I'm from Chicago. My family history goes back really far there. So tell being able to tell the stories about Chicago and the African American community there. That much of it was brought there through the Great Migration
Mhm.
historically. So
Yeah. Yeah, I get messages all the time saying like, thank you all for reflecting our neighborhoods and our culture. And yes, the show is about Chicago, but when you really break it down, it's just representing the Black family,
yeah,
a Black family and Black friends and a Black community. But it was really an honor to go to Chicago and to shoot in Chicago and to learn about Chicago and learn the culture and meet people and just reflect this character. I mean, she's a home girl. She's the girl next door. She's a track runner. She's all the things that your cousin probably is, or your best friend was when, you know, she was in high school. So it's really an honor to go to Chicago and just reflect real people.
And I appreciate that too, because you know the city gets a lot of flack, especially
Mm-hmm.
in the last several years. You know, I mean, it's always been a tough city. I mean, people have to remember it's the city of Al Capone. You
Mm-hmm.
know, so violence and those things have unfortunately been connected to that city for a long time in different,
Right.
you know, things. But it's a major city. It's the third largest market in the country. So I mean, you get, you know, sometimes city type of things.
Mm-hmm.
And people on the outside looking in don't always get a chance to see that. So I was really glad when this show was created. I appreciated Lena Waithe, you know, telling these stories and telling it from a perspective of someone who knows that city,
Yeah.
because the pulse of it beats a little bit different. So and what did you do to kind of, you said you did that research, you were able to learn the culture. Tell me about some of the research. I mean, did people take you to Harold's Chicken? You know, what was going on? What was going
Definitely.
on? Like, I had to take you
We
around.
definitely went to Harold's. We definitely went to Harold's. But the season 1 and season 2, Keisha wasn't in the show as much as season 3. She would
Right.
just kind of come in and, you know, say something and then pop back out. And we would go to these neighborhoods and we would film on the street, and I would see the young schoolgirls walk by and hear them stop and talk, and I would just watch and I would just observe.
Yeah.
And that's where I really found Keisha, and just like the freedom and the fashion of these young schoolgirls that would just walk by. But then season 3 came around and it got really serious. So
Yeah.
I had to really do research on so many things. I mean, abduction, missing women, missing Black women, and all the things, all the trauma that comes with Keisha's abduction. So I read a lot of stories and tried to keep up with the actual faces of the women that were missing at the time.
And that's the perfect segue, because obviously you guys have touched on a very important topic, about, you know, African American women going missing. It's excuse me, it's not always widely reported on, and it's definitely not usually brought into dramas and depictions on shows like this, or episodic shows where you can really get into it. So tell me about that. How did you prepare for those episodes dealing with her abduction, Keisha's abduction, and the abuse that she endured? I mean, how did you prepare for that? Because I can only imagine, as an actress, you really had to, you know, I don't even know, like where did you go to get to those places to deal with those very haunting issues?
Yeah, the first thing was researching the stories. At the time, there were 2 women who just, for some reason, really, their stories really spoke to me. It was just devastating. Relisha Rudd and Kanika Jenkins, and I would keep their pictures in my phone, and I would listen to interviews based off of their stories. And when it came time to be on set, I just had to stay in my zone. Meditation really, really helped me because it kept me focused. It kept me inside of my body, and it just reminded me to think about these women and think about their stories. So meditation was really the thing that got me through, because your energy really has to be in a very specific place in order to tell this story.
Right. And how did you deal with it in between takes, you know, or in between episodes? Like, you know, to be get yourself there emotionally, and then it's like cut. You know, where do you go when you hear that cut and you've had to really just pour out your soul and deal
Mm,
with such horrible beings as a
yeah,
character, but now you've got to go back to being Burgundy. And I know that's what
yeah.
actors do, but when you're doing heavy material like this, it was, I mean, just a little insight into what you did to handle it.
Yeah, well, in between takes, I stuck with the meditation. I couldn't go off and have conversation or get on the phone and call my friends. I couldn't, because it just takes you out of it, and it's even harder to get right back in it when it's time to get back in it. So in between takes, I would go to my trailer or go to the nearest corner and stick with the meditation. But at the end of the day, really just rest and completely like let it go for the night, because carrying it back home with you and sleeping with it is just way too much. And at the end of the day, you have to remember that although I'm sending out an important message, it's still a job. And your body doesn't really know the difference. When you're crying and thinking of traumatizing things, your body doesn't really know the difference between real life stress and character stress.
True.
So
Good
when you
point.
go, yeah. So when you go home, you have to let it go. And then the next morning, I start my morning with meditation and jump right back into it. It became like a system.
Okay. So, so you didn't have to like talk to like a therapist about these roles or anything after, because like you said, your body takes on, we don't think about that when we're watching actors, in a film or on a TV show, that they have to like themselves get there,
Yeah.
did you like have to talk to somebody afterwards just to be able to come back down or go roller skating or you know what I mean? Like what did you like, outside of the meditation, is there anything else or any advice that you know for budding actresses and actors who have to take on these, deep and profound roles?
Yeah, it was actually offered to me. Conversation and guidance on shedding the emotions of the character was offered to me by a coordinator. Um, and it wasn't so much that I felt like I needed to shed Keisha at the end. I felt like that was okay, because by the time we finished the season, I was ready to just be like, okay, these dark moments are over. But learning about what's going on with the women in the world today and playing Keisha, actually it showed me something in my real life of how important therapy is in your real life. Maybe not for me, maybe not as it pertains to my character and being connected to Keisha, but just being a Black woman in this world and seeing the things that we see and going through the things that we go through. I realized that Keisha showed me that Birgundi should probably have someone to talk to. So while I didn't need help coming out of Keisha, it did show me how important therapy and conversation was just in everyday life.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's really something. That's almost like I would think an unexpected surprise from going
Yes,
on set.
definitely. It was definitely unexpected, but I think that's one of the rewards that comes with working in a field where you're portraying real life and real life issues. I'm really blessed to have these issues brought to my attention and to be able to say, okay, yeah, it is hard out here being a Black woman. Let me open up, let me get on myself and take care of myself. I think that's really a blessing that not every job gives you, but acting has definitely given me.
It's funny you touch about the challenges of being a Black woman, and we got a chance to see it, just even with the feedback and some of the reaction to the vice presidential debate, in which Kamala was, being very criticized for her role, and it really, I think, brought a lot of things out, and a lot of especially women of color and the things that they may have endured or we've endured in the workplace, and to see her on there. So you're right. I'm really glad that we're being able to talk about these things more, because
Yes.
it was just a thing we talked about within our own sister
Yes.
circles.
Yes.
And now it's like, oh, we're strong, but we're people too, we're women
Yeah.
too, so I do love that. And I know you've had like a lot of heaviness going on with that character, but also, what impact do you think that bringing the abduction and things like that to the light? I mean, how has that also changed you? Or like I was recently interviewing, it was actually for a short film, kind of covering a similar topic about women of color being abducted and
Mhm.
that sort of thing. And one of the things they said, they just wanted to be able to highlight this because we don't hear about Black women getting,
Right.
and also kind of change. I think like one of the guide directors was like, I mean, it made me more conscious of Black women when they're out by
Yeah.
themselves and wanting to protect them. So how has that playing that role impacted you also, just as Burgundy, we talked about the mental health space, but just being more like, are you more guarded a little bit, or?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially like being by myself, being in Ubers and Lyfts and things like that. I look back at some times where I was alone or out too late and I was like, whoa, like, okay, I made it home from that, but I'm never going to do that again, you know?
Yeah.
And I have a daughter. So just having the conversation with her, being careful and protecting herself as much as she can. And at some point I'm going to have the conversation with her of all the things that are going on in the world with children and women being abducted. But I think the Shy touched on something very, very important, which was that we can't always rely on the police to get a handle on this issue for us. So the most important thing to do is to make sure that the community knows that they need to protect us, that the community knows the number of women that have gone missing, and that the community knows when it's time to get together to look for these women. That's what we have to do, because we can't rely on anyone else to do it.
What an amazing and important work that you guys are doing with that topic, with the show, all of that. You just touched on being a mom. I would be remiss as another mommy of girls not to ask you about that. How old is your daughter?
She's almost 6. She'll be 6 next month.
What a good age. So I have an 8-year-old who will be 9, and I have an 11-year-old. She'll be 9, like literally in a couple weeks, but then I have an 11-year-old daughter as well. So
Wow.
I'm a girl mom, like
Yes.
you. Yes. So I know this is like always that question, that mom question. I get it too. How do you balance being on set, mommy, all of those things? And then also, what does your daughter think about what you do? I always think it's really cool to see us ourselves as moms through the eyes of our daughters. I think it's always pretty cool to hear what they say. Is she just like, oh yeah, my mom's a star, or that's just my mama? You know, how's she doing?
You know, before this season, she was just kind of like, oh yeah, like we will sit down and watch The Shy, and she'd be like, oh, that's you, mommy. And I was like, yeah, you know, no big deal. And then when the billboard for season 3 came out, we all got in the car and drove to the billboard, and I think that's when it hit her, and she was like, oh, so people like really like you. And I was like, if that's how you want to put it, then
Okay.
that's fine. But
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I think it's influenced her a lot. Her teacher went around and asked what everyone wants to be in the classroom, and she said she wanted to be a model. And I was like, I'm going to take credit for, you wanted to be in the field.
Yes, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But it's been tough during the pandemic. It's been hard to watch her not be able to go to sleepovers and go to Chuck E. Cheese, and just trying to get creative around the house and in the yard and things like that. And then online school is a whole new thing that we've had to learn.
I was going to say, let's just take a moment of silence for online school right now. For
Yes,
all
please.
moms around the world.
It's a job. It's a job.
I mean, listen, I tell you, I don't know about your daughter, but I will say my girls, I would say about once a day, somebody has a little emotional breakdown. Because girls are already emotional.
Yes.
So is your daughter going through that too? And then it's really crazy as a mom, because now you're bearing your own personal, which is part of being a mother, of course, but it's like we're bearing our own personal like stress with this pandemic, and then it's like, oh, now you got to carry the weight of your daughter's stress.
Right. Yeah.
I wasn't ready for their stress.
It's going to be over, so you just take it day by day.
Day by day. And I do say that. I said, you know what? I tell them this. I say, you all are learning some lessons that you don't even get until much later in life. How to be adaptable.
Yes.
How to just keep it going, keep it moving, and how to take life one day at a time. So even though this has had plenty of negative parts, I really do try to focus on the positives that we're being able to bring out of this. And it's making them a little bit more independent as learners, wouldn't you say? Because it's like they have to is your daughter getting that too?
Absolutely, because I can't sit beside her and help her answer questions. It's just her. So
Yeah.
I have noticed that. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm glad we were able to take a moment of silence for all the mamas out there and parents who have been. My kids are in here right now, downstairs in virtual school. It's crazy, right? That we're able to.
Yeah.
I'm able to talk to you in LA, an amazing actress on The Shy, and my kids are downstairs. Who would have thunk it? um, so, also speaking of that, you being an actress, you're going to be receiving an right? Or are you
Yes.
getting, okay, so you're getting an award. Can you tell me a little bit about that and what it feels like to be getting, recognized? It's always, I think, nice to be recognized, right? For your craft.
Yes, absolutely. The Peachtree Village International Film Festival um, is just giving me an award for a rising star, and I really appreciate it. I don't think I've ever been recognized. Well, not, yeah, ever. And especially something like this, when you go into a project, it was such an important message that I wasn't thinking about, will I be recognized for this? Will I get an award for this? I just wanted to tell the story. And I just came in and like, I hope people will receive the story. I mean, it was a huge shift of characters. So I was worried, like, will people receive Keisha being on the forefront? I wasn't thinking about, being recognized, and to finish it and to get an award for it, it means a lot. It really, really means a lot.
Well, congratulations to you and all of your accomplishments. Can you tell us before you head out about some of your other coming up? The world is kind of starting to open up again, or we're either doing things in a virtual space, but talk about any career or future projects that you have coming up.
Yes, I just the last shift is in theaters now. I was gonna say I just finished it. I didn't finish. It's been done for like a year now, but it's finally in theaters. So you can check out the last shift today. And we will be coming back with the season 4 of The Shy. So I'm really looking forward to jumping on that story again.
Well, that is fantastic, and we look forward to seeing you. Where can people follow you and follow your career and support you and your projects?
Absolutely. It's Birgundi Baker, BirgundiBaker on Instagram.
Fantastic, and I'll be making sure to follow you as well. So hopefully you'll follow me back.
Absolutely.
All right, awesome. At Summer Jackson TV. All right, well, thank you so much, Birgundi Baker, for joining us. We are thrilled to have been able to talk to you. I'm Summer Jackson with Fire Media in association with the Peachtree Village Film Festival. Have a fantastic day.
You too. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.